This is Good Morning San Diego.
Well, are price cuts coming for San Diego home buyers? That's the question. California real estate broker Mark Powell joins us now with more on that. Hi, Mark. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
Good. So, we are seeing, hey, perhaps things are going to change a little bit here. Tell me what you're seeing in the market.
Well, prices went up over the last year, 1.67%. This is the smallest increase in property values since 2023. And 31% of home sellers now had to reduce their price. So what we're finding is that sellers that thought they were going to get these double-digit price increases are now realizing, hey, if I want to sell my house, I'm going to have to be realistic and I have to price my house competitively because more homes are coming on the market and they're staying on the market longer. But there's good news here, good news for buyers. So buyers now, they don't have that urgency anymore. Do you remember, Allie, when buyers were removing all their contingencies? I'll take it. I don't need an appraisal. I don't need a home inspection. Because they just wanted to get the house because they were just popping off like hotcakes.
Yeah.
Now they can take their time and they don't have to do all of that stuff like removing their contingencies. But for sellers, they have to understand now they might have to pay for some contingencies. And I'll give you a good example. If you're going to buy a house, you have to have a contract with your buyer's agent.
Right.
And you have to, the person buying the house now has to pay their agent that commission. Oftentimes, the buyer will ask the seller to pay their agent's commission because homes are so expensive.
Yeah.
Where are they going to come up with another $15,000, $20,000, sometimes even $30,000? Sellers really need to consider that now. Not to say, well, we're not going to pay it or give them a lower amount. So these kind of concessions, like, hey, I have termites in the house. Well, before they said, well, we're not going to take care of that termites. Now they're thinking, well, if we want to keep this buyer, we're going to have to do that.
Yeah.
We're going to have to pay these concessions.
Okay, so that's changing just slightly. And like you said, that means also you're expecting more inventory that could be out there. Houses are a little bit longer time period that they're going to be on the market.
Well, people are starting to realize that the interest rates are not going to drop to 3%.
Yeah.
They're not going to 2.5% or 3%. In fact, they're staying stable where they are right now, hovering right around 7%. So if you're going to sell, you have to make a decision. Like, hey, I'm going to sell. I might have to get rid of my 2.5% or 3% interest rate because I need to sell. Whether you're relocating or you're cashing out or you're going to do something called a 1031 tax exchange where you buy another property and you can defer your capital gains taxes. So the sellers now are in a position where they're thinking, oh, I'm looking at all these different online websites. You look at 4 different online websites, you get 4 different valuations. They always pick the highest one. The buyers pick the lowest one.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to look at that and go, I got to price my house according to what the market conditions are today. And right now, the market is getting softer.
Okay, so any advice for people, whether you're a buyer or a seller?
If you're a buyer, you have negotiation powers now. Don't be afraid to come in and ask below the list price. You can, but don't try and lowball them because it's offensive to the seller. Like they won't even respond to that. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to ask for concessions. Don't be afraid to ask, hey, pay my buyer's agent commission. Don't be afraid to ask for things like, hey, fix the driveway, or hey, you need to fix the electrical, or trim up the landscaping. So they have some negotiation powers. And the sellers have to realize, hey, look, they're going to be asked these, so plan that. When you're looking at your big profit, it's at your seller's net sheet, plan for those concessions in there. And don't just blanket say no, because if you do, they'll just go to the next one.
Okay. All right. Well, good advice for people, as obviously, here we go, things are changing a little bit in the market. We figured they would eventually, right?
Well, they had to, because like we were discussing earlier, home prices, they went up double digits since, the last 5 years. But our salaries didn't go up double digits. So right now we're in a place where we have to make $250,000 still to buy a median price home of a little over $1 million. It's hard for people to do that.
Yeah, it definitely is. All right. Well, we'll continue to keep an eye on it. Mark Powell, we appreciate you coming in, sharing some insight on a Sunday.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.